My mum was in the hospice by then. Sorry, she'd been given like a few weeks to live. We were trying to like rush it so like she could be involved in something, but she ultimately died. And yeah, we just got planning from then. The proposal didn't happen, but we knew this is something we wanted to do. My dad had already passed away, so I had like no family here. When I'm like telling my planner to do something and I'm getting responses like, oh, that's long. Or I'm like, can you make this? And it's like, oh, that's not in my job description, or I'm just doing it. Basically, yeah, I just couldn't be at the wedding, and we didn't know till 2 weeks before. I was basically found these people to help be there on the day, and when we're like, it's not good enough, she was like, yeah, but I found them. And this is, when I say this, people think I'm toxic.
No, it's not a toxic thing,
it's not about black businesses.
It's like I support the people
professional businesses. And if there's a certain way you expect something to be done, you basically need to find someone who can do it that way, as opposed to continue being disappointed with someone who categorically can't or doesn't function that way. It took a lot to get there. And I think one thing was that I changed the narrative. So it was a sad time, it was a lonely time, but it was also a happy time. Like, my mum met my partner before she died, and that was like one of the things that gave her the most comfort. So I know that getting married, like, she'll be happy.
Oh, if it's love, then you can keep it.
It's already now.
'Cause if it's love, then I don't need it.
It's so cocky in it.
Oh, if it's love, then you can keep it. 'Cause if it's love, then I don't need it.
Purchase your tracks today.
It's already now.
It's so cocky in it.
Cool. So 1, 2, 3, and cut. Oh, all right. Lovely. So, hey, Dr. Mame.
Hey, Aisha, how
How
are
you
you?
doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I am so happy to have you seated here in the bride's
I'm
room.
excited. This is an honor, guys. Honestly, thank you for having me.
No worries. Thank you for being here. Before we get into anything, how has your week been?
It's been good. Started a new job, which I'm so excited about. And yeah, I've just been on my Zoom, back on fitness.
Oh, that's right.
Happy relationship weight is a thing, honey, because nothing is fitting. But yeah, I'm back on my Zoom, started a new job. Obviously, I'm here today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really, really good. I've had an amazing week. I can't complain.
Went viral.
Yeah. I know, right?
How are you
Viral.
feeling about that? Some of us are just going viral. It's just calm for her. She didn't even mention it because it's an everyday thing to be going
I never
viral.
experienced it. But you know what? It was needed. It's about time, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's about time we actually start being BFFR. Like let's actually be FFR for
Let's
once.
be for real.
Like the wedding industry. It's very interesting. It's a very, very interesting industry. And yeah, this week going viral with so let me just give context, because I guess it will be really good for new listeners to understand what you're actually talking about. So my last episode, if you haven't watched it, was with a previous bride called Safi. And she went, viral first. I'm about to put out a snippet about how she paid 4K for her decorator. Her decorator didn't actually deliver. She took her to court and she won. I then, put that online. It's a little bit of promo for the pod. And a lot of people picked up on that. And so initially it was vendors picking up saying that 4K was too cheap.
What?
The word cheap
for 200 people.
For 200 people, number one. And the fact that people are
4K.
even saying that 4K is cheap.
Yeah, that's the disrespect.
It's very disrespectful. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that people are starting to see what we see
Exactly.
as people that plan our weddings. I'm assuming you planned your wedding yourself, right?
So yeah, I planned. We'll get into it, but yeah,
Yeah.
I had a planner, but ended up planning most of it.
We'll get into that. And this is why
the water's brewing. Like it's
this
too
is why
early
we
to
went
serve tea.
viral this week. Because I just like, so yes, to continue the context. So yeah, Sappy paid 4K. She won. She took her person to court. Whatever.
Yeah.
Vendors were now saying it's too cheap. It's too this. It's too that. And I didn't want to be rude, but respectfully, planners, this conversation is not for you.
It's actually not.
It's for the DIY
Yes.
couples, the couples that plan. I speak mostly for those that plan their weddings themselves. If you're fortunate enough to have a planner, congratulations. But not everyone has that. And yes, the planners, I know, in your eyes, you have to take your cut, and so 4K might not be a reasonable amount to you. But for people like some of us that do go directly to our sources, we do know that we can get
a lot more for your money.
Yeah, a lot more for your money, exactly. So yeah. Anyway, that went to Twitter, and then people started coming out with their stories. Shout out to Ore.
Came out.
Ore from another podcast. I need to actually find out what podcast she's got. I'm gonna edit it in. She is from another podcast actually. I'm gonna go on my Twitter real quick. No. I'm gonna edit it in because she shouted me out, so I'm gonna shout her out back as well. So she's from Real Talk, Real Walk podcast. Just plug her there.
Real Talk, Real Walk. I love that.
Real Talk, Real Walk podcast. So yeah. Anyway, she went online, put online. Everyone started coming up with their stories, and I was like, whoa.
And this is why like a podcast like this is so needed, because once you're going through it, like you actually think, why is the world against me? Is it just me? But you realize that this industry is just so notorious for overcharging and under-delivering. And I feel like it's about time that we shed light on it. We empower brides in order for them to know their rights, because you're ultimately paying for a service. Like you wouldn't go to Zara and buy a ripped up dress. So why do you then have to, get a vendor and he's giving you suboptimal service and you still have to pay for it without making noise?
Do you get it?
Get your rights. Like consumer rights.
Exactly.
Like
we're
you
here,
should
we're
get what you
here.
pay for.
Exactly. And I'm so glad that there's so many like-minded people, and you're right. You're so right in what you're saying. It's like when you're in it, it literally feels like the world is against you. And I think sometimes a lot of these vendors don't actually understand just how overwhelmed you are as a bride, as a couple as well, because obviously this is a space for everyone, including men as well. I don't think they actually understand. And so it's very frustrating to see that. But to be fair, I do want to say good vendors, respectfully as well, this conversation is not for you. I do hope that, those of you that do work to, very high standards and, deliver excellence every single time, we do see you and we do appreciate you.
We do.
We love you.
We love you.
We love an excellent vendor. But this conversation is not for you. So it is for those. And those that are not delivering, you know yourselves. But yeah, I was quite shocked because some vendors were actually telling me not to speak. And it's like, no, respectfully.
And I feel like you genuinely feel triggered when you know the shoe fits.
Exactly.
Like if you were delivering good care, a good service, you won't be triggered by it. You'll just be in your lane, making your money, bringing brides' visions to life. But if you're upset, it's because you know you can do better.
Exactly.
So time for some self-reflection.
Self-reflection and self-change. So yeah, that's my week.
Yes.
That's been my week. And yeah, it's been really amazing, to be fair. I'm glad. I'm actually shocked with a lot of the stories, but one way or another, we're going to be able to have to find a way to meet in the middle. So, yeah. How was your planning process? So I understand you got married in Ghana.
Yeah.
And did you do anything here in the UK?
I did.
Oh, okay.
So, basically, myself and my partner, we're Ghanaian. Accra, stand up.
I don't even want to say the cliche.
And
this thing.
Ajay. Atu. So Ghana, rise up. So we basically had our traditional wedding here and our white wedding in Ghana. Not what I thought would do, because I actually hadn't been to Ghana until when I went to go look for venues for my wedding.
Wow.
Yeah, my mum really kept me in the UK. I was born in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
I was actually thinking more of a like Morocco, Dubai. But unfortunately, my mum passed away a year before the wedding.
No way.
My dad had already passed away. So I had like no family here
No way.
at all. My brother suggested that we get married in Ghana because it's cheaper, and obviously my mum's siblings are there.
Yeah.
When I started looking at the prices, it just made too much sense. And you know what? There's so many underrated vendors in Africa.
Yes.
Like if we look at the dressmaking industry, the photographers, the videographers, like once we get into this talk and I tell you how much I paid for them and we look at the quality of the service they provided,
Yeah.
you just realize that like people are just in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I was always telling my vendors, like, you guys are so amazing. Even if I will go and infiltrate the Home Office myself, I'll try and get you guys all to the UK because you guys need your flowers, you need your coins. So we looked at Ghana, it made sense. Family were there, and we decided to have our white wedding there. But obviously, to pay like homage to my mom and all her friends, she basically wanted to be buried here because she wanted to still feel close to us.
Yeah.
I was like, let me just do my trad here. Yeah. So I switched it. Usually
That
you'd
is so
probably do your trad
beautiful.
back home.
Yeah,
but I was like,
I was
I'm doing
gonna
it here
say, oh.
and then doing my white in Ghana.
Oh my God. Like how was that? Do you mind talking about that?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
I,
no, it's
I was
fine.
watching your stories today and I saw that like
Yeah.
today's a very special day as well.
is,
So
it
and I
is.
feel like your story is so emotional, obviously, but so beautiful as well. And I definitely know that like I can only imagine like I have friends as well that pretty much like when it comes to their time, like going through that process and obviously knowing that like, you know, the people that you kind of wanted to be there were not. How did you navigate that as a bride? Because
I think it was it's so emotional. Like I even think of when I got my wedding dress. So basically in my culture, when a woman dies, you basically bury them either in kente or a white wedding dress. So when my mum died, she'd always like wanted to be buried in white lace. So I remember I had to go wedding dress shopping pretending it's for me, but it was actually for my mum to be buried in. And I ended up finding a dress for her and a dress for myself, but I wasn't engaged. I had no business buying a wedding dress.
Wait, so you found your wedding dress?
Yeah, before I was even engaged, because I had to be pretending the dresses were for me, and I actually fell in love with a dress. So it's so beautiful. I've got a picture of my dress and then the dress my mum was buried in.
You have to send it to me.
Yeah,
please.
you guys will see it. But yeah, it was really difficult, especially like not having family here. Wedding planning is honestly like one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I've been to medical school. I've got 2 degrees. I've done so much in my life.
Sprinkle.
Let me just get my flowers.
Reload it. I don't think they heard that one. How many degrees? What kind of
couple
degree?
prizes.
Speak up.
Let me keep it humble. But yeah, it's honestly one of the...
No, talk your shit. Talk your shit.
It's one of the hardest things I've done. And I remember like there being times where I needed like clarity on tradition or wanted reassurance if I was doing things right. And obviously my mum wasn't there. But this is where like community come in. This is where like who you pick as your bridesmaid come in, your wedding planner comes in, like your godmom or an auntie and uncle comes in, because yeah, like it was really hard, and I had to like figure out a lot of things on my own. But I think that process enabled me to grow as a person, because I was like, okay, I've planned a wedding. What's next? Throw anything at me. Like I've been through the worst.
Not only did you
and I overcame.
You planned it internationally.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've had a lot of girls like DM me being like, oh my God, please get a bride from the UK that has planned their wedding back home.
Internationally. I'm here.
Not only have you done that, but you've done that with like even just like the emotional side as well. So I think girl, go you.
Thank you.
Go you. And I saw some of the pictures as well, and like a snippet of the video. You sent me the video, isn't it?
I did.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of it, and you looked stunning.
Thank you.
Absolutely stunning. Genuinely looked happy as well.
Yeah, I was. It took a lot. It took a lot to get there, and I think one thing was that I changed the narrative. So it was a sad time, it was a lonely time, but it was also a happy time. Like my mum met my partner before she died, and that was like one of the things that gave her the most comfort. So I know that getting married, like she'll be happy. And I just started to think about, you know, what it is she would have liked. So like I started, you know, doing little things just to make sure that she was also included. So I remember initially I was actually meant to wear one of her kentes basically for my wedding. my traditional wedding, but I decided I didn't want any tailor to touch it and ruin it, so I'm going to leave
Yeah.
it. But I think just involving her friends in the process, I basically walked down the aisle to her voice as well. Like,
Wow.
I basically put things together just to keep the sentiment, but also keep it as like a happy occasion. Because the very act of her daughter, her only girl, getting married, I know would make her proud. So yeah, like I think channeling all that grief and emotion into actually paying homage to the person that you've lost and loved is a way to like turn this whole experience around to something positive.
I think that's amazing.
Thank
I'm sure you're probably going to get so many
you.
DMs after this video. No, and yeah, all I can say is like, well done and congratulations. You
you.
made it. You're now on the other side. And you're able to talk about
Honey,
it. I
wife
feel like it needs to be like some sort of like graduation.
Yeah,
ceremony.
I made it.
made it through the trenches. We made it.
We survived.
Cool. So obviously, that was all of that. But like,
Yeah.
how was your actual wedding? What? So you said that you had a planner, and
I
your
did.
planner ghosted you. So
let's get into that.
Let's get into that.
So I basically started my planning before I even got engaged. There's a theme here. Bought my dress, got a planner.
So context, just for those listening, context. So like, let's just get a little bit about your now husband.
Okay.
When did you get engaged?
Okay.
All of that.
We can talk about
Yeah,
that.
talk us through from proposal to when your planner goes
to wifey. So my partner's called Fred. He's basically 32. I met him. It's funny. I'd just come out of a 4.5-year relationship.
Oh.
I hosted an event at my church because the girlies were looking for men and the guys weren't there. So I was like, let me help y'all. Like, I'm heartbroken, but I'm going to help y'all. Yeah. Find a guy.
Leslie, this is not for you to...
Let me help y'all. Yeah, guys want to know.
Yeah.
Basically, like, the guys were marrying outside of the church. Things weren't cute. Like, so I was like, let's do this event together. He came, they were hiding in the toilet. I had to talk to all the guys. He was cute, kind of messed up the speed dating, so he only spoke to me. And yeah, the rest is history. So obviously started talking. He'd actually been married before.
Wow.
You know what? He needs to come on this pod to tell his own story.
Don't worry, we're ready.
But he was like 2-3 years post-divorce. We met, started speaking. We basically always had like a timeline for what we wanted to happen. So we're like, yeah, year 4, we want to get married. And year 4 is basically like when my mum died and I was going on like a break in my career. So it just all made sense. Like I knew we were getting married, and with Ghanaian culture, it kind of ruins surprise, because I was actually watching Molly May's video the other day, and she was basically like 2 weeks before Tommy proposed to her, he went to go ask her dad for permission, and she called her mum on the day to be like, I'm engaged. And I just think about African culture where, no, you need to go with your whole family to the guy's house. Yeah. In Ghanaian culture, you basically do something we call the knocking process.
So what tribe are you before you
I'm Ashanti.
Okay, cool.
Ghanaian.
Okay.
So basically the guy comes to your house with his family. They're basically like, yeah, we've seen this flower in your garden that we want to pluck. And then your family are like, do you know what we put into that flower? Like, we watered that seed every day. The soil pH was 6.5. We put good fertilizer on it.
Good.
Yeah, that good.
That
Like,
good,
they
good.
raised their girl well. So if you want to do that, here's a list of things you should bring. And that's what they bring to the traditional wedding.
Okay.
So that's how it works. So we basically started that process. My mum was in the hospice by then. Sorry, she'd been given like a few weeks to live. We were trying to like rush it so like she could be involved in something, but she ultimately died. And yeah, we just got planning from then. The proposal didn't happen, but we knew this is something we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started planning our wedding, and I remember like I've always been someone who's been like good at planning. I've been really organized. I've got a type A personality, so everything's gonna be spelled out on Canva. I'm gonna make a cute itinerary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like a spreadsheet. I love a spreadsheet and a Google Drive, but I just wasn't feeling confident. I was just like, it might be too much for me. I don't know what I'm doing. I was self-sabotaging. I was in grief. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. So one of my friends got married the year before, and her cousin basically helped her plan the wedding and had started her own planning business. So I was like, oh, let me use her. Had a conversation, made a WhatsApp, and then we got into planning. There was no
Okay.
vetting, there was no nothing, which is probably one of like my biggest regrets. But
So was that planner? So you had a wedding planner.
Yeah.
And your wedding planner, she was from Ghana. Or no, your cousin's friend just started a
my
business.
friend's cousin.
Fred's cousin. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So basically we were looking for a planner because obviously I work as a doctor, long shifts. I didn't think I'd be able to, do everything, like be able to manage planning the wedding and also being present for myself and also being present at work. So basically one of my friends, she got married in Ghana a year before. Her cousin helped her plan it. Her pictures looked amazing. And I was like, oh, let me hit her up. Literally had a phone conversation, made a WhatsApp. And there we were planning our wedding with not much direction. And basically looking through everything we went through, I just go back and I'm like, I really wish in that moment I'd done my due diligence, had spoken to more planners instead of, feeling overwhelmed, seeing someone who I thought could like help me fix everything and just going straight through it. Because looking at how everything transpired after that, a lot could have been stopped if we had just paused.
Can I add something though? Because I think it's something that I've noticed happens to a lot of people. And I feel I even fell for this as well, which is like naturally as a bride, you see somebody's wedding and you think, oh my God, that looks so beautiful. Like I want that.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the conversation we were having earlier on, which is what I was even talking about on my story on Instagram this week, which was a lot of people come out with beautiful weddings. But I think one thing I would say as a bride or even a groom, ask the person, is that the wedding that you wanted? Was the vendor able to give you the wedding that you wanted? Because I think that's actually the questions that we should be asking.
Yeah.
Because if you say, "Oh, did you enjoy your wedding?" I think most people do. Like, I don't know, we don't have enough time to be bad vibes, but you can see all the mistakes.
Yeah, you can. Like when you're sitting there, you're like, "Oh no, that was meant to be like this." You're like, "That was 5K," like
So yeah, of course, most brides and grooms are going to be happy with the outcome because it's still a good outcome. But is that what they dreamt of? Is that what they wanted? Is that what they discussed in their consultations? No. Those are the questions that you should really be asking, I think. So sorry, I just wanted to say that and hand that back over to you. Because,
and also even to add, like, feel free to DM the brides on the pages. So if you go on a vendor's page, they've probably added the bride or the groom. Exactly. DM them, be like, girl, tell me the tea, tell me the good, the bad, the ugly, like what should I know? Like you actually need to do your due diligence because you're paying a lot of money. This is like the one day in your life that you just want everything to work well for you, come together for you. So make sure that you're picking the right people to execute that vision.
Also just wanted to add as well, the vendors will put out their best work. They're never going to put out their mistakes. And that's not to criticize, we're all human, we all make mistakes, but don't fall for the Instagram. No. Yes, it looks glossy, it looks beautiful, you've got the beautiful mountains or you've got the chandeliers or whatever it is. But yeah, DM, ask, because these vendors can really package themselves.
They really can.
They can package.
And they pick up on your ignorance as well.
Exactly.
So, especially now we live in a generation with like TikTok and Instagram where like we're having conversations like this. Like you've got this amazing podcast to give you the reels.
Thank you.
Let's
and
not be and TikToks as well. Let's not be ignorant. Like, make sure you guys know what you're talking about. Make sure you're going to the vendors with the right questions. And that's something I didn't do because I remember speaking to you about it when I was basically planning my wedding, and I'd go on TikTok. I'd see like the Late Comos.
Yeah,
I'd see the Sophia Richies. I'd see like the people.
People don't even know how much Late Como.
They don't even know.
Someone's telling me it's 100K to book it, and you have to book it for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
and that's dry hire.
That's
just
dry,
just vibes. It's sunny Italian weather, and that's it. But so yeah, make sure that you're well informed. And that's why like I really rate platforms like this. And that's why I even got into making TikTok videos as well about weddings. It's so like you see girls that look like you, who've been through the reels, who are genuinely like, we finished the race and we're coming back to the starting line to tell you,
listen, run.
This is what y'all should be doing.
Way.
Yeah, go this way.
When
go
you get
right.
to that bridge.
I wish I had someone to tell me that. But yeah, so yeah, with my planner, it was I just think that I wish I had more time to vet it. We had very different working styles. I pride myself in being someone with a type A personality.
What does
And
that mean for those that don't
basically
understand?
type A personality is like you're very specific, you want things organized, like you're very extra.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the sort of person.
Who's that between me and you? I feel like that's me. Anyway, I think it's both of us. That's why our wedding came out the way it was.
It's true. I'm the sort of person, like, if we're going on holiday, I'm going to go make an ebook on Canva, and I'm going to say we're doing this on day one. This is what we're wearing. This is this is me.
Yeah.
It's project management.
Yeah.
You know, I do it at work
love it
as
though.
well.
I know.
So I was also expecting other people and other vendors and other planners to be like this,
or even
like,
more because they are a planner, right?
yeah, exactly. So when I'm like telling my planner to do something and I'm getting responses like, "Oh, that's long," or you know, or I'm like, "Can you make this?" And it's like, "Oh, that's not in my job description," or I'm just doing it because I know I haven't done X, Y, Z. I'm thinking, like, honey,
can we get into it for a second? Because have you finished your story? Sorry, don't worry.
no, like it's an evolving story. So
Damn, because I really want to talk about customer service. Because how did we get to a stage where we're paying Gucci prices, but we are not getting Gucci service?
Oh,
and I don't think I think it's even more than Gucci. What's more than Gucci?
I don't know.
But we're paying premium
Balenciaga's.
deluxe luxury prices, but we can't even get a simple glass of Prosecco.
Yeah.
Prosecco's like £6. You know, consult me. Like, I want an experience. If you're saying that this is a luxury service, then what I want is a luxury experience from beginning to end. And I think that's the one thing that really underwhelmed me throughout my whole planning process, which was like a lot of the work was it was nice on the day. But I didn't get in a luxury experience.
No. But I do
when
think
it comes to customer service.
it's about, obviously, like, as humans, we all have different personalities and different expectations. And I think that's why when you initially speak to a vendor, you honestly just need to be like, take me through how you work. Like, how would you deal, like, if things were to go wrong, how will you deal with it? So you're able to check whether like your expectation and the way they work align.
So are you saying so people should start interviewing
their vendors? You should interview your vendor, shop around. I know it sounds extra, but I'm saying this because, like, let's say even with friendships, you basically become friends with people you get along with. Like, trust, you know how to communicate, you know how to trust, and like, that's a vetting process that you do subconsciously for your friends. So why would you not do it for like a wedding planner who's basically going to become your friend for that year? And if there's a certain way you expect something to be done, you basically need to find someone who can do it that way, as opposed to continue being disappointed with someone who categorically can't or doesn't function that way. And I think that's what people need to start recognizing. Like, you can't pay for Zara and expect Gucci service.
And that's the thing as well. So even paying for the Zara, but my thing as well, let's say, because some people, I don't even expect them to get it right 100% of the time. Actually, you know, what I'm even going to is a different for a different day. But I'm just saying as well, like, let's normalize refunds as well, you know?
Yeah.
Let's normalize refunds, and I mean proper refunds.
Real refunds.
Not taking 5K and then refunding 250. That don't make sense.
No, I agree.
Because I think a lot more people would be happy where, like, if I don't get what I wanted, at least I get my money back. A lot of people are burning because they're not getting what they wanted, and they're also not getting their money back. So it's like, But anyway, it's back to your planner. She said that's long.
Yeah, like things like that's long. And the thing is, I'm not even here to like talk bad on her, because we've had this conversation, we've given her feedback. But I just think when I first, inquired about her services, I was very ignorant. So as time was going on and I was getting more clued up, I was doing my research and I was like addressing certain things. She started saying, "Oh, like, I'm like too involved as a bride, or I like things in a particular way." Like, it was basically like making it seem like I was being extra, if that makes sense. But it's not that I was being extra. It's just, babe, I wasn't ignorant anymore. Like, and also I'm paying for this service. Like, there was a time, in her price list, it said like she comes with, making mood boards and budgeting and all of that stuff. And those were things I was doing in the background. And I was talking to my fiance and I was like, bro, like, I swear I got a wedding planner to not be stressed. Why am I stressed?
Yeah.
So I was like to her, sis, you
That's the
said you can
moment.
do XYZ,
And you
do it.
didn't. Yeah. Yeah.
And then she made the mood board, and she made,
Yeah.
and the thing is, yeah, like if you don't know your rights, people can actually
advantage.
take advantage. And it's not even like because they're malicious, it's just a human thing. Like
Literally.
doing the bare minimum, getting paid for it.
Literally.
So,
And because it's a wedding, you know,
yeah,
there's the wedding tax. That's it, you know,
Yeah.
and they just hope it's just another wedding.
yeah.
Yeah, I think from the sounds of it, it sounds like she's a lovely person.
She's amazing.
And
like,
I think that's what makes it harder though,
Yeah.
because a lot of vendors are very, very
they're
lovely.
so
They're
nice.
so lovely. They're so sweet.
They're so sweet. And obviously, when you're both Afro-Caribbean or African, there's that whole familiarity. Like, oh, you're my sister,
You
you're
want
my
to support
friend.
even more.
You want to support.
BLM.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
After I might have to edit this out, but after my wedding planning process, I did not. I came out and I was like, I do not support all black businesses.
This is when I say this, people think I'm toxic.
No, it's not even a toxic thing.
It's not about black businesses.
It's like I support the people
professional businesses.
I support the people that actually want to do this.
Exactly.
Not the people that just want to take your
And
money
also,
and run.
I may sound like a hater, but I
Yeah.
just feel like just because you're good at something doesn't mean you need to make a business
I
out
put
of
a
it.
TikTok up about that the other day.
Yeah.
What's her name? Anyway, whatever. There was a girl, she was ranting about this, but yeah.
And I'm not being a
Sorry.
Sorry.
What? Oh, how long we got left? Oh, sugar.
Sugar. We just
Oh,
got started.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool. So, okay, let's land with your planner because we didn't even get to land on that.
Yeah.
So I'll let you talk and I'll stop.
Yeah. So I mean, like there were times where she really showed up for us, and then there were other times when I was like, oh, like I wish, you were more involved. I remember like situations in which I'd ask her to like speak to a vendor, and then it would be days and I'll be like, oh, have they said anything? And it'll be like, no, I haven't heard back. But then I'll go message the vendor and get a reply like
straight
an
away.
hour later.
Yeah.
So I was just like, there was quite a lot of friction ultimately because of a situation which we only found out about 2 weeks before. She couldn't even be at the wedding.
Why is that?
Which I mean, I don't really want to say it out because she wants to keep it private, but she basically just couldn't be at the wedding, and we didn't know till 2 weeks before. And then was basically found these people to help be there on the day, and when we're like, it's not good enough, she was like, yeah, but I found them. And basically just, I feel like I say this to say that as a vendor, one thing that's very paramount is basically professionalism, and especially when you're planning someone's wedding, you need to recognize that the bride is right. It's their vision. You're getting paid to execute it in the most politest way. And instead of like always highlighting problems or being a problem, be solution focused. Like come with the ways in which there's this problem that could arise, but here's a solution. And I think it's not even a personality thing. I just think you're there to be a problem solver. You're there to be a planner. So if path A is not working, plan for us to get onto path B or C quickly.
Yeah.
Like, don't make it my problem, or don't make it an issue if I'm basically asking you what's going on or what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of vendors become very defensive.
They become very. That's the thing. I don't think I've dealt with a lot, but So just to respond to what you're saying, sorry, I lost my train of thought because I'm confusing myself now. But it's about the thing of like the customer is right. Like when you study like just basic business studies, for those of us that have studied it, the customer is always right. So whether you agree or disagree, figure it out.
Yeah.
And make their dream come true,
Exactly.
especially where it's a wedding.
Especially because they're paying for your services.
Yeah.
And this is it's a business, or it's an industry of service, of like bringing someone's vision to light. So ultimately you need to know that person, and you need to change. I don't want to say be submissive, because that has such a negative or dark connotation, but ultimately you're paying to bring someone's vision to life. So bring that vision to life. Like put away ego, be professional, learn how to communicate well. Just listen first before you speak, or find a solution first before you defend. And I think ultimately everyone will get what they want out of it. The bride will get the wedding they wanted, you get the clout, but you also get paid. Like that's the best
you
way
get
for
paid,
things to
exactly.
go.
And word of mouth, I'm sure as well, a lot of vendors know this, but it goes so far.
Yeah.
It goes so far
does.
when, you know, you actually deliver. And even if you haven't actually done every single thing to the T, I think just the fact that we've seen that you've tried your
Yeah.
hardest is what is like, you know what, no, you actually need to book this person.
Yeah.
Like I know, like everyone knows this, like with my wedding photographer, like I will always scream and shout about him because literally from beginning to end, it was customer
Yeah.
service. Just like meet me in the middle.
Yeah.
Like come up with visions. Like tell me, what do you think? Like I want
Mm.
to know. I want to like really just like have a session and just like let's talk about it. And like I want to see that you're trying. For me, that is the service. So when you're coming with your crazy prices, you're like, okay, no, that's
Fine. Yeah.
Take
Like,
my money.
I want to put the money in your pocket, you
Take
know?
all my money, you know? Well, take my husband's money anyway.
Take it out.
Take it.
But I say that. So I think originally you were like, some people that watch would want to know how to like plan a wedding in Ghana or Africa.
Yeah.
So one big thing that carries weight is like building rapport and actually genuinely being friends with your vendors. So even though like sometimes my wedding planner would message these people, and then I'll go message them on the side, not to be sneaky, but it's because I wanted to be their friends. I wanted them to get to know me so deeply that number one, not only would they go above and beyond for me, but number two, they realize that this is like an exchange of service. Like I'm paying you for your creativity, but then you're also like paying me with your work and bringing my vision to life.
Yeah.
And I think, yes, people do say like, you know, people in Africa, they want to scam you when they know that you're from the UK, they charge you more. But I think you basically mitigate that by knowing your fat. So like when I was speaking to, sorry, I was doing this thing where I looked down, knowing your fat. So I basically shopped around.
Yeah.
I knew the prices that certain things were.
Yeah.
So when I was speaking to them and they were trying to give me like a dress for like 10,000 cities, I'm like, oh sis, Debbie, like nah.
What
like
does Debbie mean?
it means no. Like I know this should cost this amount.
Yeah.
Why is it that you want to like have those conversations, build rapport, be their friends? When I went to Ghana, like I'd go out to eat with some of them, and even go out to eat with some of them. Let's have a meeting at this place. So we became friends. Because on the day, there were certain things that I paid for, like let's say my cake lady, because I wanted to, save coins. What I basically paid for was most of the cake to be fake, apart from the bit that we cut, and then have little bits of cake.
Yeah.
But because me and her became friends, like I was reposting her cakes that she made. I was always like speaking life into her. She ended up making the whole cake real. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, and I know I've seen a lot of vendors say, like if they love the couple, they will go above and beyond.
Yeah.
But that's the good ones. But the good ones will actually always go above and beyond. And I can actually speak from experience as well. I do feel like, especially our trad, I feel like most of the, if not all the vendors, all the vendors pretty much went above and beyond, to be honest. Like they really showed up and showed out.
They do.
So I completely agree.
Yeah.
I do. But do you think that's advice that you should give to people here in the UK? Because I do think that's probably something that we're not doing as couples. I don't know how many people are actually going out for dinner.
In a cost of living crisis.
I know, right?
No. But I think it's striking a good balance between being a human but also being professional. So the way you speak to your vendors and the way vendors speak to you make a big difference. Like build rapport. Just be like, hey, I don't know, let's give an example. Okay, hey Aisha, like I've seen your podcast, I've seen your work, I really love it. I respect your work. I wanted to inquire about your services. So you've basically, it's just basic human communication. You start off with a compliment, you've been nice, you've introduced yourself. Let's say you're like, oh yeah, it's like 10K to be on my podcast. I'm like, oh okay. WWE. I'm like, okay, that's way beyond my budget because I really want to work with you. What's the way in which we can come up with a custom package for me to have your services, but also for me to respect your work? Like just having a basic conversation like that can get you really far.
Simple manners, basically. You know?
And I should be like, Okay,
girl,
like she's
you
not
know
trying to
what,
say I'm
well,
cheap, but she still wants to
usually I
work
charge
with me.
10K, but we
Yeah.
can do 5.
Just that
And
basic.
Leslie said, Debbie,
Hubby's
Debbie.
like, Debbie, 10. We're staying there.
All right, cool. So, it's so annoying. I feel like these sessions need to be longer
They
because it's like I feel like
do.
every bride I bring here literally
Yeah.
is like we probably need a part 2. Probably need more time than this. But okay, cool. So you went through that, and I know we're literally just touching the tip of the iceberg
Yeah.
for you. But what have you learnt? Like, what's like the one thing that like you want to share today, like to those watching and like following your story? Because I know like you're really big on TikTok at the moment, and like you're growing a following as well on Instagram too. But yeah, like is there anything that any key message you'd like to put out there? Now's your time to share.
I would
Really.
say enjoy the process because it happens so quickly, like so quickly. Realize that this is a day for you and your husband. So any opinions is noise. Anything family wants to do is noise. If they're not funding the wedding, just if they are not funding the wedding, it's noise. Just make sure you do your due diligence, make sure you do your research, but enjoy the process because after that day, it's just you and your husband looking at each other in the face. But you want to make it such an enjoyable process, romanticize it, but be smart, be respectful, be kind, set your expectations right. And yeah, just work with the people that you know will bring your vision to life, but also understand the expectation that you have from them. Yeah,
Oh,
get
but the
planning.
ebook, I know. I saw a little birdie told me you got an ebook now.
I do.
The process that dealt with you so much. He said, "No, I gotta write a book.
I'm overcoming it.
I have got to write a book."
You know, with everything in my life, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm the guinea pig. Like
Yeah.
I walk so people could run. And as I said, I went through so much wedding planning because I was very ignorant. And I was like, you know what? I've seen the light. Like I got the knowledge.
Yeah.
And I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. So I was like, what's this gonna do? She's gonna get her Canva. She's gonna
get her ebook.
I created an ebook basically to empower brides, to empower, people that are planning their weddings to know what to ask these vendors, how to plan it. And yeah, like it's here to like help. It's something that I wish that I had wedding planning because maybe then I wouldn't have needed a planner. And my wedding could have come out how I wanted it to come out. But yeah, guys, go for it.
So what's the ebook called?
It's called The Wedding Checklist.
The Wedding Checklist.
Yes.
I love that. And I'll share somewhere here on screen. Also, as well, don't feel bad that you had a bad planner because some of us planned ourselves and it still went wrong. So it's just something in the air when it comes to vendors and communication and all that kind of thing. But I think having resources like this podcast, having resources like the wedding checklist, I'm sure people definitely feel like a lot more equipped.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't guarantee that, anything's going to be any different, but at least
it will help. And I just want to say, I didn't have a bad planner because she's not a bad person, but I just think she was bad for me.
It doesn't
but
make
she might
the
be
people,
amazing for someone.
Exactly. It doesn't make them a bad person.
Yeah.
But if you just can't deliver, just say you can't so I can have the vision that I want.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Agreed.
But no, thank you so much, Doctor, for joining me today. Sorry, let me say that again. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining me today. I really enjoyed this conversation. I think your story, like I said before, I think it's so beautiful. And I just hope that even if it's one bride that watches this today and just feels a lot more reassured and empowered, then I guess your work here is done, really. Our work here is done. And I'm sure it will be the case. So yeah, with that being said, I will drop all of your @. We didn't even put any of your @information. So I know you're big on TikTok. I know, you're trying on social media. So I see you, girl. I see you. So if you don't mind telling us where we can find you after today.
Yeah. So I am at Dr. Yahima on Instagram and on TikTok. So yeah, find me there.
Yeah. And what kind of content do you make as well so the girlies know?
The girlies know. So I do everything from wedding to medical content to travel because I'm an all-rounder.
She's outside. She said she got how many degrees now?
2 for now.
I love that. I love that. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And guys, thank you so much for joining another episode of the Bride's Room.
Yes, make sure you guys follow, repost,
follow me on
subscribe,
Instagram,
all of
exactly,
that.
subscribe, notification, everything there. And until next time, yeah, you guys have an amazing week.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
See ya.